Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanek, John Vias, and Robert Paris, Gretchen Carey with the community calendar, and Peter Brown with the weather. Thank you for joining us. After some contentious discussion, a new person has been named to the planning board to fill the seat left vacant after longtime member Paul Raymond retired last month. During a joint meeting with the planning board and the select board, the two voted to place candidate Jessica Sutherland, on the board to serve until the town election that will be held on April 1st, 2023. If she wishes to remain in that seat after the election, she will have to run for the seat. As reported by BNews, there's some vagueness in the town bylaws on the proper procedure to replace a member of an elected board, and the confusion made possible by that was on display during the joint session. Select Board Chair Nick Priest explained that at the beginning of the process, he and Planning Board Chair Brenda Rappaport decided there would first be a subcommittee with 3 members of each board that would recommend finalists. The Planning Board then held a meeting to decide which of the finalists they wished to put forward to the joint session, at which at that time they landed on Sutherland over the other finalist. Former Planning Board member and current town meeting member Jack Kelly and former Select Board member Chris Hartling were the other candidates. The final step was the joint meeting where a candidate would need at least 6 votes to be approved. During that meeting, Planning Board member Barbara LaRue made a motion to approve the nomination of Sutherland, and it was quickly seconded. Selectman Mike Runyon, however, said he wished to nominate Hartling and attempted to make that motion. He pointed out the original subcommittee had 3 votes to recommend Hartling, 2 for Sutherland and 1 for Kelly. Surprisingly, Select Chair Priest explained they had to first have a vote on the first motion that was seconded, and that was done through roll call. Sutherland was approved by a vote of 8-3, with Runyon being joined by Select Board members Joe Morandi and Jim Tigas in voting against. Runyon's motion to nominate was not allowed. Morandi explained he voted against the appointment because he was unhappy with the process, but did not have anything against Sutherland being on the board. Here he is.
I don't agree with the process. Sure. I think she's a wonderful candidate. I said right from the beginning, I said either Mr. Hartling or her would be the 2 best candidates for the board. I'm happy with either one of them. I think you're going to do a great job on the board, but as far as this issue goes, the way its process is taken, there's been 2 different times since I've been in here. This is the second time. You're right, it needs to be re-looked at and done over again for the proper way for both boards to be excited about it. The last time we voted, we had 2 candidates in front of us, and we all voted for whichever candidate we thought. So basically what happened this time was the planning board brought us this candidate, that's what they voted for, and that's what we voted on. Right. So that's the way it goes right now. I'd like to congratulate her. I'd like to end this discussion. There's no reason to go any further than this. I think that she's going to do a great job, and I think Mr. Hartling would have done a great job. So congratulations, and I'm all done talking.
The town of Burlington is exploring the possibility of partnering with a neighboring community to fill a vital part-time position. At Monday night's Select Board meeting, Town Administrator Sagarino and Human Resources Director Joanne Faust informed the board that the state had decided to not renew its contract with most municipalities in Massachusetts to provide the service of sealer of weights and measures. The sealer of weights and measures is responsible for testing and calibrating all weighing and measuring devices at all retail establishments within a town and certifying that they are providing accurate measurements. This includes gas station pumps, store price scanners, grocery store and deli scales, jewelry store scales, cab meters, and the like. Backup material provided said Burlington has nearly 600 devices that need to be tested, and they estimate this will produce an average of 10 hours per week. Faust said it's difficult to hire part-time workers at this time, but they had a plan to make the offer more appealing. What they are proposing is working with the town of Lexington, which also had its services cut by the state, to make the position more appealing. Faust said she has been talking with her counterpart there, and they estimate Lexington has roughly 8 hours of work each week for someone in the position. The 2 towns would enter into a shared services agreement where both towns pay their portion of the salary, benefits, and associated costs, such as equipment and recruitment. Faust and Sagarino also noted that based on the amount of anticipated work, the position is not anticipated to be eligible for health insurance, accrued leave, or the pension system. Members of the board said they were in favor of looking further into the agreement with Lexington. Finally, Segarino said the contract with the state ended on July 1, but that the town has until June 30th of 2023 to have all devices certified. An upgraded Varsity Field is underway at Burlington High School, and school officials are excited to unveil the finished product to the community. BNEWS reporter Robert Paris went to check it out and has this look.
As you head down Cambridge Street, you will see the BHS Varsity Field is under construction for turf resurfacing.
So we're well on our way to putting in the new turf, installing the new turf. You can see the machines behind you. They're ready to laser grade. So we're hoping over the next couple of weeks, if we stay on track, we should have a field hopefully first or second week in September.
The project took a couple of years before it could get underway.
The field had been in Burlington. I think it was going on its 12th year. What we do is we make sure the field is safe to play on, so we do impact testing and we do different testing on the field. It was starting to get to a point where we were past that safety protocol, so the fields are only good for X number of years. So we looked at those numbers, had a conversation about those numbers, brought those numbers to the town. The town agreed that the fields need to be updated and replaced. So we're just on that process. That was probably a year-long process. We'll probably a year and 3 or 4 months by the time we're all said and done.
As for the field itself, it will have a number of replacements and upgrades.
First and foremost, we're replacing the BPS that was in the center of the 50-yard line, and we're putting the B logo with the devil tail on it. So we will have that on the 50-yard line. We're getting a whole new color scheme, so we're getting alternating colors from light green to dark green, and the end zones are going to be a bright red, and they will say Burlington Red Devils in white with blue lettering on it.
The school and athletic department are excited to see how the field will look when it is completed.
The new field is just going to be an opportunity to showcase our school again and our community again, which we've never had a problem with doing, but it'll just be that next piece in the plan to kind of move us forward.
I want them to appreciate the efforts that go into it, and again, the support that the residents give us. Without them, we wouldn't be able to have facilities as nice as this. And like I said, I mean, it's a sought-after location. We definitely put the time and money to make sure that these fields are great playing conditions, and people look to come to Burlington. It's a great location right off the main street, and it's a great venue, and I hope that it's a great venue for many years to come.
From Varsity Field, I'm Robert Paris for BNews Sports.
Two groups who have differing opinions on what to do with a piece of land across from the town common adjacent to the Grandview Farm met to see how they could work together to advance both their interests in the future. The Burlington Historical Commission and the Burlington Sculpture Park Committee met on Wednesday in a joint meeting to discuss the site of the park, which is adjacent to Grandview Farm. Since the Sculpture Park was first proposed, some members of the Historical Commission said they believed the land was designated to be used for projects of their creation under a planned development project, and that the sculptures were not an appropriate use of the site. However, due to a subsequent overlay placed on the site, that turned out not to be the case, and the Sculpture Park Committee was given the green light to proceed with the park. The meeting on Wednesday was an attempt, which largely seemed quite successful, for the two groups to come together and work out their differences of opinion. Historical Commission member Mary Nolte said her intent is to use the park to highlight Burlington's history, especially its agricultural history, since the site is next to Grandview Farm, but is open to sharing it with the Sculpture Park. Members of the Sculpture Park Committee said they were open to have more pieces of farm equipment to add to the antique wheeled rake that is there now, and would move sculptures to accommodate more historical pieces. In the end, nothing was set in stone, but the two groups pledged to work together moving forward. The Sculpture Park Committee Chair Barbara LaRue extended an invitation to have members of the commission join the committee to keep them focused on preserving history as they consider new installations. This point may be moot in the future, however, as the possibility exists that the expansion of the police department may take up some of that space. After 7 years of creating programming and having a positive influence on Burlington teens, Burlington Public Librarian Youth Adult Librarian is moving on to new endeavors. BNews reporter Tad Stefanek went to see her before she left and has this report.
In 2015, Nicole Monk became Burlington's first young adult librarian. Now moving on, Nicole talked about the effect the position has made.
It's been through a few different things. For a while, we had a teen lounge that was really popular. A lot of kids that were really into board games, so they would come every week and we'd do that, or video games on the Switch. The paint nights that I started have been extremely popular. We've actually expanded them into doing them with adults as well. But the So Just Club this last year was really great. We had started doing some social justice programming during the pandemic, and we had partnered with the high school, but younger kids were really wanting to get involved, and so I started that for middle schoolers, and they did a lot of great things, and I hope whoever takes my spot continues it. While we were closed, I was able to virtually interview Amy Poehler. So Amy Poehler actually was the executive producer, and she was in the Netflix original Moxie, which is based on a young adult novel by Jennifer Mathieu, and it really is actually, again, sort of social justice themed, and really is about a woman that stands up for her rights and for all women in this small Texas town. So that was obviously very exciting. Also, planning Comic-Con was great. We had over 1,000 attendees that came throughout that whole day, so planning that whole day and really seeing it come together was amazing. I've loved working here. It was a great opportunity. I think everyone that came in has been my best job so far, and while I'm excited to do more, I am sad to leave all the Burlington residents and my coworkers behind.
All of us here at BCAT wish Nicole Monk the best in her future endeavors. From the Burlington Public Library, I'm BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak.
A large crowd gathered on the Burlington Town Common on Monday evening to celebrate the 75th anniversary of India's independence. August 15 celebrates the date in 1947 when the Indian Independence Act came into effect, which established India and Pakistan as separate countries, no longer under British imperialist rule. Most notably, India's independence was gained by a long struggle through nonviolent means, led by Indian lawyer, anti-colonial nationalist, and political ethicist Mahatma Gandhi. During Monday night's celebration, an Indian flag was put on display near the flagpole that flies the American flag on the Common. Indian Americans for Burlington, AIB, Board of Directors member Tanu Basu welcomed the crowd and members of the Select Board. The board then presented a proclamation read by member Micah Speo, officially declaring August 15 to be India Day in Burlington. You can read the full proclamation on our website at bcattv.org/bnews. The Burlington Food Pantry relocated to Murray Avenue, and People Helping People in the Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce held a ribbon cutting in honor of the big milestone. BNews reporter John Vias was there and has this report.
1, 2, 3.
Burlington!
Cut!
21 Murray Avenue is the official new address for the Burlington Food Pantry, and on Wednesday, August 10th, various community members joined the folks of People Helping People to celebrate their next big milestone, the grand opening of their new location, held by the Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce. The ceremony kicked off with speeches from State Rep Ken Gordon, the People Helping People Board of Directors, along with blessings from members of the interfaith.
One of the great things in the business community these days, the organizations are looking for a way to connect with the community. We get calls all the time saying, hey, we'd really like to either volunteer or support some organization. And People Helping People in the Burlington Food Pantry are always one of the ones on the top of the list. It's a cross-section of the business community, local residents, the board, staff. It really represents the finest in Burlington, that everyone looks to those that might not be quite as fortunate as themselves and takes time to help others.
The food pantry was located next to St. Mark's Episcopal Church for many years. And as time passes on, meeting the needs in the community increased, and with countless hours of strategic planning from the board of directors, their vision of moving to a larger facility became a reality.
We did shut the pantry at St. Mark's down for 1 week, and during that time, we used our truck. We have a truck that we purchased through some grant money. We were able to get a lot of volunteers to help move us here. The Murray people planned for all the renovations for the project. We opened the day after Memorial Day.
What we'll do is we'll create a committee, ask board members to be members of that committee, and there'll be a person that chairs the committee. And then we'll just go through and establish goals, what we want to get accomplished with the committee, and then work towards those goals.
The increase in space size tripled. While the old location's interior held 1,500 square feet, the new Murray Avenue location holds 3,000, giving the food pantry even more room to collect goods, more room to spread out and stack their shelves, and a shopping area in the back, making it easier for people to find the supplies that they need.
And we are so thrilled to be able to have triple the space that we have. And if you come to the building, you can see that it's full. Everybody has said it's full already. So this has been a great place for us.
If you would like to become a volunteer for People Helping People, call the pantry at 781-270-6625 or visit peoplehelpingpeopleinc.org.
This is our community. It reflects every segment of our community. It's the generosity of our community. It's the hard work, the donations, and I'm just so proud to be part of it and to be here at this milestone.
From the new Burlington Food Pantry on Murray Avenue, this is John Vias for BNEWS Weekly.
What the rabbi actually said in Hebrew was, you all signed up for 100 hours of volunteer service.
The Massachusetts Department of Secondary and Elementary Education and the Massachusetts Department of Public Health on Tuesday released their guidance to school districts in the state relating to the pandemic and the 22-23 school year. Perhaps the most notable updates are in regards to their recommendations regarding testing, which they say should be focused on individuals showing signs of being sick. The memo also notes that the state stopped its distribution of test kits for districts in the spring, and if any district wants to supply free tests for some or all of their students and faculty, they will need to purchase them through the state portal. They do recommend, however, that they be tests on hand if needed. The guidance also states that the masks will not be required in schools, the same as the latter part of the previous school year. However, anyone who is more comfortable in a mask should be allowed to wear one. Finally, DESC and DPH do strongly recommend vaccinations as the best way of combating the spread of COVID-19. They also stated that DPH will be holding free vaccination clinics that do not require any proof of insurance and encourage districts to hold their own clinics with state-approved vaccine providers. For the third time, the local chapter of the National Ataxia Foundation, under the leadership of Burlington resident Doug Place, will hold an Ataxia Walk and Roll to raise funds to find a cure for the rare neurological disease. BNews Director Rich Hosford spoke with Doug and a fellow coordinator and has this report.
It's almost time to walk or roll for a good cause. The Massachusetts chapter of the National Ataxia Foundation is set to hold their annual Ataxia Walk and Roll on the town common to help fund research for the rare neurological disease. Event organizer Doug Place came to our BCAT studio to talk about the event, why it's important, and what they hope to achieve.
It's been around for the national scene for a long time, but this is the third time we've had it in Burlington. The National Ataxia Foundation, they sponsor these walks around the country, and this is one of them. The goal of the walk is to raise awareness for ataxia, which is a rare disease, and also fund towards research for ataxia.
Doug says many people are unfamiliar with ataxia and often have misperceptions about those dealing with it.
Well, you know, when the average person sees a person that has ataxia, they can range. But the one misconception which is very popular is that a person is drunk, because that's what people jump to, and also that a person may have had a stroke or had Parkinson's, something like that. It's very rare that people know what ataxia actually is.
The Ataxia Walk and Roll will be held on September 10th on the Burlington Town Common. Registration begins at 9 a.m. and the walk begins at 10. Organizers say it's a fun event that features more than just the walk and hope you check it out.
We have a lot of fun things to do there. And like in the past, we've had several service dogs. We actually do donate to be able to pet the service dogs. Don't know if she'll have others with her this year, but they'll at least be wicked there. We've also got raffles and places coming from Northeast Passage that with bikes with recumbent trikes that anyone that even can't ride can use.
We have speakers, we have power bars, that sort of the things. It's basically just a fun event, and it's something to do on the common on a Saturday.
You can also find a link to donate to the National Ataxia Foundation in the video description. From our BCAT studio, I'm BNews Director Rich Hosford.
In our series, Who Works for Burlington, we talk to town employees not often in the spotlight. Up this time is Burlington's new town accountant, Julian De La Reyes. Let's take a look.
In our quest to bring you stories of town employees not often seen in the news, we bring you the next installment of Who Works for Burlington. Up this time is Burlington's new town accountant, Julian De Los Reyes. Julian is an alumni of Boston College, where she earned a graduate degree in administration and leadership. Previous experience includes working as an accounts manager for the city of Cambridge, and she has experience in a number of different financial and accounting positions in Newton. Most recently, she was the assistant finance director in Natick before coming to Burlington. I started by asking her what got her interested in the field in the first place.
I'm very into accounting, and right now here my role is a town accountant. I'm basically doing all the accounting stuff for the town of Burlington. And in school, basically, we learn a lot of financial reporting stuff. Basically, it's all about accounting.
And what made her want to come to Burlington?
I feel like I'm a good fit for this role, and I'm a certified governmental accountant. So after passing the exam, it sort of helped me to get this position. And I've been always wanting to do this job as a town accountant, and so I just applied the job.
Julian has only been in the position for a handful of weeks, but says she has gotten a handle on the daily workflow.
The typical day would be like checking in the office, like checking the expenditures and process all the invoices, make sure we pay the bill into the right account, and then also we need to process the warrants for the town.
She also has goals for her position and department.
I have a lot of goals here. First, I want to continue to, strengthen the internal controls and make sure we can continue the trend of accurate financial reporting. And then, in terms of town payers' tax money, here the residential tax rate is extremely low. And of course, we are making sure every money is well spent and it's spent at the right place.
Finally, I asked about her first impressions of the new position and her welcome to Town Hall.
It's great here. It's more than what I expected. Town of Burlington is extremely organized, and people are very, very talented and very professional. It's like there's no place like this. It's the best. People are very nice, very friendly. They will talk to you, say hi to you, welcome you. So I really enjoy it.
Now you know who works for Burlington. We'll be back with another edition soon, so stay tuned.
We go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown for a look at the forecast for the week ahead. We'll also check out the community calendar with Gretchen Carey to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone. This is Peter Brown with your weather. For the next 7 days, here we are heading in towards the latter portions of August. I know it's hard to believe we actually only have a couple of weeks left of meteorological summer. I know for a lot of us, including me, that is a sad thought. As yes, we are starting to head very close towards September and into the fall season. However, we definitely do not have any fall-like temperatures around coming to visit us here in the Burlington area over the next 7 to 10 days. Starting at our period actually on Friday, we're going to be seeing temperatures well up into the 80s to near 90 again. So a real return of midsummer-like heat here to the Burlington area. That's going to continue right through our weekend. And then we're going to see temperatures probably trail off as we get towards the end of the period into Thursday. Our average highs still at this time of the year should be in the mid to upper 80s. And that's pretty much where we're probably going to be ending up. So a fairly average week in terms of dip to temperature. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting that much in terms of rainfall in the Burlington area. I know that's something that a lot of you have been waiting for. We have our reservoirs and rivers and lakes are so low right now here, especially in eastern New England. And of course, as you notice, our length of days, those keep getting shorter and shorter. And as we head towards September, we're going to really start to notice the loss of daylight out there. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us here in the Burlington area in terms of temperatures and precipitation for the next 7 to 10 days. And again, looking at our temperature map, very typical of what we've been seeing for most of the summer around here in New England, the chances and very high chances of above average temperatures for our region. And looking at our precipitation chances, looks like they're calling for us actually to have above average precipitation. I'm not really seeing that right now, and may depend on how many showers and thunderstorms we get in here as we get towards next Tuesday and Wednesday, but it doesn't really look like we're going to be seeing much in the way of organized rainfall out there. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at those 7 days of weather coming up. And again, starting our period on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it is going to be hazy, hot, and humid out there. Temperatures in the 80s into the low 90s for Friday and then all the way through the weekend. Unfortunately, that's going to exacerbate the drought problems that we have here in the Burlington area. We are already in an extreme drought. If we continue like this for another couple of weeks, we may be moved into an exceptional drought category, something we haven't seen here in the Burlington area and rest of New England since back in the 80s. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that as the conditions are going to stay pretty dry out there. Temperatures cool down a bit as we get in towards Monday and Tuesday, and again, that chance of maybe some showers and thunderstorms, hopefully with some beneficial rainfall by Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, once again, not an assured thing, unfortunately. As we get in towards Thursday, it looks like warm and dry conditions return as we head towards the final days of August. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hi, I'm Amy Poehler, and you're watching BCAT. Go Red Devils!
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your community calendar. On August 24th from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having an event called Story and Art at the Village, located at the Burlington Mall. No registration is required. For more information, go to burlingtonpubliclibrary.org. On August 27th from 12 to 4 p.m., the Lexington Historical Society is having a Spinning Bee anniversary event. For more information, go to lexingtonhistory.org/events. On August 28th from 2 to 4 p.m., Temple Shalom Ameth will be having an open house at 16 Lexington Street. For more questions, email Val Jacobs at membership@shalomameth.org. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your community calendar.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo shows a unique type of pedestrian temporarily stopping traffic as they make their way to the next destination. It was sent in by Mary Elaine Leach and features a column of Canadian geese crossing a Burlington street, and a vehicle stopped waiting for them to complete their journey. It's a nice gesture to let the birds of a feather safely flock together. Thanks for the photo, Mary. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your summer activities, family and pets, the weather outside your front door, or anything else you'd like to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. And that's it for the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with Rich Hosford, Tad Stefanak, John Vias, Robert Paris, Peter Brown, and Gretchen Carey. Thank you for joining us.